Thank you for coming back for another listen. I hope everyone had them a good week. I know I did. Today, I have 3 special guests for you guys. So, I'm going to give them the time to introduce themselves before we hop into what we're doing today.
I'll go first. Hi, I'm Jamel.
Hi, I'm Camryn.
Hey y'all, I'm Ashanti.
Okay, so today we will be having a hot take episode. Each one of us has came up with one hot topic that we would like to discuss, no matter what it is, an unpopular opinion, anything like that, and we're going to run through with those. So, let's get into that. I can go first. So, my hot topic is Jason Lee. Dun, dun, dun. So, if you do not know who Jason Lee is basically what should I call him? A social media talk show.
Like an interviewer.
Yeah, interviewer. Yeah. He has a podcast, talk show, I guess that's what I would call it, called Hollywood Unlocked, where he takes on current social media celebrities, influencers, and interviews them. So, you may know him by interviewing Krishan, Blueface, Jaden, Blueface Mama, some other people. But recently, he was on The Breakfast Club, 105.5 with Charlamagne and them. And he called Jennifer Hudson illiterate. He called a black woman, a ECOT-winning black woman, illiterate. All because she interviewed Jeannie from The Real, which is also another talk show on a network. I can't remember which network. But she interviewed her about her divorce with Jeezy. And they just talked about that. I guess Jason Lee also wanted to interview her about it, but instead of going to him, she went to Jennifer Hudson, as she should. And yeah, he got on The Breakfast Club and basically made fun of her, was sarcastic about, like, if you want to know something, I guess you go to Jennifer Hudson, and basically just downing a black woman, which he's been known for, in a room full of other men who have also been known for downing black women. So, that is my hot take. Any comments? Any concerns?
I mean, I just think it's really dumb for him to call her illiterate because he didn't get the interview that he wanted. Because at the end of the day, like, if we're really looking at it, who's the illiterate one, right? Like, how Jennifer Hudson just has come up with her story and just everything that she has been through, and just being the artist that she is, the woman that she is. She is just an amazing person overall. So it's just like, how dare you go for somebody that has worked hard to get where they are, you know, regardless, even if she didn't have an award. Like, come on now. She's a black woman that has just been trying to succeed in the world, and that's what she's doing.
Like, this is Effie White.
Right. Like,
this is
get
Effie
it
White.
together.
Come on now.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I just wonder what makes him think that it's okay for him to make that comment. Is it because he feels like he is more experienced in talking to people about these things? Because if that's the case, it's kind of like it was up for grabs either way. Because all he does is talk about mess.
Yeah, very messy.
She went on the show to talk about something that wasn't going to be turned into mess. She was able to go on Jennifer Hudson's show and talk about, well, this is what's happening, but these are the other great things that are happening. This is the top of my life. The Jennifer Hudson show gave her the opportunity to do that. Jason Lee's his show was not going to give her that opportunity to do that.
Yeah, so, it's like he was going to go and he was going to be messy. He was going to ask her a bunch of messy questions, whereas, like you said, Jennifer Hudson gives her the time to be like, okay, this is my story. This is my divorce. This is where I grow from here. Yeah. This is where I go from here. This is how I've been coping with that. Like, come on now.
So I guess I just wonder if the whole illiterate comment is like, are you really meaning to say that she has a lack of experience compared to you when talking about these things? Or either way, it was inappropriate for him to make. Yeah. But I just wonder what standpoint he was coming from. Is this just like a random comment, or are you hinting that you know something about her education?
Right.
Because you can Google it all. So it's just interesting. I just wonder where that came from.
And then it's one of those, like, baseless comments, too, because it's just like, she still has obtained the level of respect and fame that she has. So even if she was illiterate, that doesn't stop her from being a good person. That doesn't stop her from being talented.
Right. And her talk show kills.
Right.
It does.
Yeah. You know, going off of what you all was saying, I feel like it also deems on, like, the idea that when it comes, like, to black industry, like, that it's just another black person downing another black person when they both have these hosting shows that are both successful. Mm-hmm. You know, it's okay to miss out on an opportunity one time. You know what I'm saying? Like, let the person have it.
Jason Lee isn't black.
Isn't he mixed?
He's not black.
He's mixed. So Jason,
I think he's mixed.
Yes.
Black and white?
No. So he is Hispanic, and I believe so. His mom is white.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
And I think his father was absent, but I think his father, I don't think he was black. I think he was like Hispanic or something.
That makes it even better.
Black and Hispanic,
because
I believe.
Yeah.
BIPOC communities, like minorities, are so put down already with talk shows. Just look at, what's that guy? He's
which guy?
It's white. I couldn't even tell you.
Jimmy Fallon. Well,
yes.
Jimmy Fallon.
Yes,
Saturday Night Live.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, but I feel like when we think of that, like, we don't really think of talk show, but yeah, it's like a late night thing. But
yeah, but either way, like, it just shows like there's no community when it comes to these type of things, and like.
Black people are always put on a different pedestal.
Exactly.
We always have to work harder.
Yeah.
So it's like she already has to work harder as not only a black person, but a black woman. Mm-hmm. And then aside from even a black woman, a woman, period.
Yeah.
So it's like she's just having to climb a steady rope. And then you as another, BIPOC, mixed whatever, is going to go and talk about this woman who is just she's in a field that you don't see a lot of us in already.
Right.
And you're gonna sit there and be messy as you are. That's what you put out. That's what that's who you are. So it's like it's in character, but it's just really crazy that you would go and do something like that. And then it makes it more crazy that it's just like Charlamagne and DJ Envy. You sat and interviewed this man and sat here and let him down this black woman that you should have respect for, that you have said you have respect for, and laughed when he called her illiterate.
Right. And the thing is, as a black woman that has to work 10 times harder to get where she is, how can she even be remotely illiterate? You know, like y'all said, it's baseless. There's nothing you can say. And then another thing, like him not what's his name? Not Jason, the other dude.
Charlamagne.
Yeah, Charlamagne not like coming to bat for her. Like, it's just it's really telling of the character and just how they just don't care about black women. Like, that's really what it boils down to.
It's another show that just black women have to work hard, and we have to climb a rope, and we're steady pushed down. So
it also is the case of like black men, men in general don't really understand the work that women have to put into things. Right. So I think that sometimes men talk about things and say senseless things, not understanding like women actually, we have blinders on as men, regardless whether you think you do or don't.
Right.
Men have blinders on, and I think that sometimes men get lost in like, oh wait, we maybe shouldn't let him say that, because Jennifer Hudson, she's done all this work and she's the legend that she is, and she's still underrated.
Yeah.
And that's horrible to think about, and I just think that they didn't think about it, in that way at the time. But that also takes me back to, I really didn't like the comment, because I honestly think that Jason Lee took that as a moment to hate on Jennifer Hudson based on stuff that's already been happening, because there was a situation where, an artist came on her show and they kind of were comparing Jennifer Hudson to that artist.
Oh,
and it was
Renee.
a whole thing made of it. And they really discredited Jennifer Hudson.
Yeah.
And I just feel like Jason Lee made that his moment. Like I
as
really
an opportunity to add fuel to that
really
fire.
do. Like, no, he didn't mention it, but knowing that that's been a thing going around,
she's been a topic,
and
I really
he's
think
messy.
that he
It was strategic, and it was very messy. It was very baseless, but it was very on purpose.
I think so.
Yeah, I can see that, absolutely.
Any more comments on this hot topic?
And by the way, Jennifer Hudson has a bachelor's degree from Langston University.
Okay, period.
All right.
Period, Jennifer. Stephanie White.
Like, come on now.
I love
Don't
me
play
some
with
Dream
that
Girls. I'm telling you.
Okay.
I love
get me
Dream
started.
Girls. Okay, who wants to go next?
Okay, so it's more general, but I'm going to use one specific person.
Okay.
So Tasha K. So Tasha K is, I guess you could call her a podcaster, an interviewer. Some of y'all might know her as, she was the lady that got sued by Cardi B for slander. That was a very big thing for quite some time. And recently she has been in the media for doing a lot of like transgender talk, and cis woman talk. She's done interviews with Sydney Starr. There's been some issues between her and T.S. Madison. These are trans women that I'm naming. And several others, right? And so I have seen interviews where she'll interview trans women and they'll say something, and along the conversation they'll say, well, cis woman, whatever. And she's very strong on her opinion being, that's not a thing. Like, cis woman is not a thing. We're just women. And that's been a very big thing now. It actually kind of started from that. Well, I know there was some other talk about it, but she really has like kept the conversation going. So yeah, what do y'all think about that?
Considering that there are a lack of emotional intelligence and just a lack of like progressive like knowledge or like learning new things, like as we go through like generation and generation, and it just shows that like there's no,
I mean, it's really just true ignorance.
Yeah. But also there's like no, like I was saying, like there's no progression right there. Like they're in that stuck mindset that like I am this way and this is what I was taught. Like, okay, we get it.
Right.
Like that's how you were grown up, but at the same time there are other people who do not live in the same experiences, perception that you live in. And like obviously, you know, you hold your truth, you hold down your experiences, you know, you have every right to, you know, say that that's not what you want to be called. But was that it, right? You had a problem with that? And it's okay, but at the same time, it's giving, you're not knowledgeable of what the actual term is. Because nobody's calling you any of these, like a negative, like, nothing negative at all. Like, the actual definition is, like, you're straight.
Which, by the way, was a term that was used prior to all of this talk about transgender women. That's been a term that's been around forever. As long as saying cis men, and I haven't seen an issue from men. From that. So that is interesting.
And like going along with what you said, Shanti, with like everybody has different things that they want to be called, and everybody has different ways that they were raised and different things that they agree upon. Everybody has the same thing. So with it, for me, I feel like if that's a her thing, like if that's what you don't want to be called, then that's you. Right. But that shouldn't be something that you push out and make an issue for all women. Like, some women may not have a problem with that term. But you, as the woman you are, you do. And that's a you thing. But that's not an everybody thing.
Yeah. I really just feel like it is an ignorance thing, though. Because I feel like the only thing it is it's really just, it's just a differentiation term. It's just all you're doing is saying, I'm acknowledging, you know, your womanhood, and then there's this type of womanhood.
It's an acknowledgement.
It's not really meant to do anything else. It's just to understand where people are in society. That's it. And so I just think it's very ignorant to make it seem like the term is to say that you're somehow, because this is how it's being spent, to say that cis women are like less of women because of how trans women are being pushed. Because, you know, they're saying, well, just call trans women woman, and then we'll say biological women are cis women. But that's how it's being spent. That's not how it's supposed to be. That's not really that's not really what the trans community is saying. They're just saying if you want to say trans woman, that's fine. But the term cis woman has always been around. So we're just using it.
You're just bringing it back.
We're just using it to say I'm a trans woman, you're a cis woman, and that's it. So it just is ignorant to, and all it is you're just using this as a way to say that you have a certain standpoint when it's really just transphobic.
Exactly, because I was just going to ask you, that's why I was waiting until you finished. So I was asked, like, has she ever vocalized that or shown, like, transphobia, or has she ever said that she doesn't support that? So, because it's seeming, like you said, just a way to spin, like, in the back of my head, I know I don't support this, I have a different standpoint on this, and I'm transphobic, but I'm not going to come out right and say, hey, world, I'm transphobic, so I'm going to use this to press my transphobic narrative.
Okay, I don't follow her career that much, but I will say that I have seen things, especially with the whole T.S. Madison thing. She absolutely is transphobic because she's, you know, made certain comments about, I guess, like, T.S. Madison still being a man, or, you know, talking about her penis, things like that, whatever. So there's definitely transphobia in that for sure. but she'll say she's not.
Not transphobic.
Yeah.
But your actions speak completely different than your words.
Oh, for sure. Because if you're not transphobic, you're not going to talk about these topics.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, there's a line of respect. And the fact that you would talk about these topics knowing that you're going to have a following of people that are going to take after your opinion, you're pushing out hateful rhetoric, which automatically makes you transphobic.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And again, that conversation was started from, I don't even know where the original conversation came from. The cisgender thing, she has just been emphasizing on it. That was a social media thing. That's been a thing for a while. So, yeah.
Okay. I don't know if this is really like a true hot take, but...
If it's your version of one, then it is.
So, do y'all know the Karamo show?
Yes.
Yes.
You don't know the Karamo show?
Hell.
Enlighten me.
I got some things to say about
okay,
this.
me too.
Get cold.
The Karamo show is kind of like a Karamo. He's more like a therapist type talk show. Like he talks things out, and so my hot take is that his show is just it tops everything. It tops Maury. It tops all of those shows that have like the people arguing and things like that. Like I feel like his show is so genuine, and it brings people comfort in a certain way. And but sometimes I do think like, are they acting? Like, is this really serious? Because there are some things that are crazy. Like you would never think that that happens. But Karamo, it's just a beautiful thing to see, especially him being a gay black man, and he's just exceeding in what he's doing and just giving all of these, especially these black families, giving them outlets and just helping them kind of progress. I just feel like it's beautiful, and I feel like he needs more traction and it needs to be talked about more. Like, yeah, people know about him, but I feel like it just needs to be more... I don't know. See, it's not a hot take.
No, it is. I personally don't like him. His method of things, just from what I've seen, I don't really tune into him much, because when I watch a lot of his things, the way he, I guess, what's the word I'm looking for, evaluates things, it's kind of unfair to me. Like I said, I don't really watch him. If I see a clip pop up on TikTok or something, I'll watch a full episode on YouTube if I like the thing. But I don't know. It's just like his evaluations of like the situations and the questions he asks. Like, they be very hit or miss to me.
So go ahead.
So I do agree, but I just feel like that's very subjective. Like, I just feel like you're always going to... Now, do I think that his job is supposed to be in the middle more so of it? Just just the mediator? I do think that's supposed to be more so his job. But anytime you're listening to people and their problems, you're always going to take a side, even if you know that you have to present it a different way. And I think that that's kind of the way that he helps, in a sense. He's able to say, okay, I see it from this side, I see it from that side, but let me tell y'all why this is a problem. Because I've noticed that he almost always, even when he does take the parent side, he always is like, okay, but you still understand you're the problem.
Right.
Like, this is your child. You have the responsibility to do this. And every episode like that I've seen, even if I felt like he was taking the parent side, he still was like, well, let's take a step back now. You're the parent. And you have a responsibility to this child to do this, that, the third. Now let's get therapy. And he always offers those things. So it's kind of like, to me, I feel like there are some parts of it that's like, this isn't very useful. But then there are some things that's like, okay, this episode he did it right. So it is a hit and miss thing.
Yeah, so I totally agree. Like, there are some episodes where I'm like, what are you doing? Like, come on now, get it together. But at the end of the day, like you said, Mel, he acknowledges everything, really. Like, there's a lot of things that he does acknowledge. Like, yeah, okay, he'll take the parent side, which he he should not do, or whatever, blah, blah, blah. But then he also acknowledges the child's pain and kind of is like, hey, like, okay, yeah, Mom, you went through stuff. You have trauma, X, Y, and Z. But also, this is your baby. You had this child. This is your child. This is your responsibility. So you need to take care of, emotionally, physically, all of that. So I guess because when I've been watching the segments, like I've watched almost all of season 1, and I see all sides, and there are certain instances where I'm like, okay, nah, you wrong, but he he takes and he has taken accountability for certain things. Like if he realizes like he was wrong for something. Like there's been an episode where he's taken accountability. Like, hey, I shouldn't have said this X, Y, and Z.
I don't watch them consecutive.
Right, so. I do. Right, so like there's certain instances where he acknowledges his wrongdoings, right? And I really just love the show because of the therapy aspect. Like, yeah, I do feel like it's exaggerated, and yeah, I feel like it's just too much going on sometimes, but I feel like the traction that it can get, and it's just opening, I feel like it opens conversations to a lot of different people, and just kind of just opening your eyes. Like when I go on TikTok or YouTube and just see all the comments and things like that, people are having these conversations and talking about trauma and just all of this, and it's just opening up this can of worms that needed to be opened up and just talked about, especially within the Black community and with misogyny and all of these different topics. Like I just feel like his show can become even more just something that turns society around in a sense.
I think it could be bigger if he, well, not even about being bigger, just more helpful to the Black community. If he needs to expand on certain things a little more. He needs to do a little more, I don't know, maybe research on certain things. Yeah, maybe get more of a team, a psychological team. Because I don't know if it's an unpopular opinion or not, but for me, I personally feel like, especially within the Black community, I don't like seeing therapy on TV. I feel like we get exploited, even when you talk about Iyamba. I feel like everybody was Iyamba down, and there were just some things that I disagreed with. And would I have disagreed with them if they weren't on TV? Maybe that would have made the difference, you know? Like, there are just some things that shouldn't be on television. Especially when you know that no matter how you said it, whether it be the audience, the people you're bringing on, you yourself, something's going to be exaggerated for the camera. And do you really want somebody to come to your show for therapy only to get more trauma because they're on national television doing these things and talking about these things? So to me, that's a great area for me. Like it has to, he's going to have to put more work in it.
I can see that.
You've never seen Ashanti? Have you ever seen Iyamba or Iyamba?
I'm not really big on the names, but like I need like faces.
She's like, pull it up.
It's a gray area for me too, because I do like how therapy is being, especially for the Black community, because some of us believe that, you know, we're not traumatized, or, you know, we don't experience microaggressions in life. Like, we just think that life is life. And I do like how they're creating a platform to recognize that mental health is a really big thing, and it's not something to just, you know, to let go or to ignore. And I also do, I like, because there's some, I haven't seen all the episodes, but I do like how she doesn't glamorize being loud. Like, she's very calm. You know, there's some therapists out there that kind of go along with the mood of their clients. And I don't really like that. You know, the fact that she stays calm, and, you know, I know that, you know, Mel, you said that sometimes she could end up picking sides, but there's some episodes where I see that kind of giving that client the ability to see, like, hey, like, I do see your side, but at the same, like, you know, like you were saying, you know, she picks up where the problem is. And that's probably what I like the most, is that, you know, there's always going to be two sides to a story. You know, each person plays a bad role in a lot of situations. And I feel like that's something that I do really like about her, that she brings to realization, is that, like, okay, you know, we all fall short in some part of, like, you know, in life, and that's the reason why this problem has gotten so big. But at the same time, you know, like Mel was saying, being a Black therapist, being on live TV, you know, there's that misconception that is a general thing, and that's what I don't like, because it's not general. On whatever experiences that she's, like, you know, hearing and trying to go through, there's other people out there looking at that same situation who are going into the field of psychology or going into the field of, like, counseling, that they look at her as a person to kind of basically looking at her methods and seeing how she goes and applying it to their therapies, and that's just not it. And that's and that's what I
That's so funny that y'all say that, because my mindset, like, I'm just looking at it in such a different light. Like, I'm not looking at it as, like, other people are trying to imitate anybody. I just kind of see it as people are getting help, and regardless if it's like, you know, a little exaggerated, things like that. Like, these are things like one girl, she talked about assaults and, you know, all of these different things. And, you know, Karamo had some really good advice. And even I took in some advice that he had, you know, because some of it applied to me. So I think, yeah, I'm looking at it because, you know, psychology major, you inherently look at certain things. But for me, it was more of a personal thing and just like an emotional thing where it's like, okay, you're giving all this advice and I'm taking it also. So that's where I'm looking at it.
So it's helping you too.
Right. It's helping me. And I think that's like kind of the difference, because some people would probably won't help, right? And that's just what it is. But for me, I wasn't really in that psychology mode. I was in the mode where, oh my gosh, like, he has some good insight, and this is a person that is giving great advice and helping these people. Like, so I think that's where like my disconnect is. But I see what y'all are saying about it being exploited and things like that. But I also think like conversations are being held, because I had a couple conversations with my mom and my parent just about the Karamo show and about certain things that he has been saying. And it may not be like that for all cases, because not all Black parents want to talk about stuff like that. But I think like for certain people, like it brings up conversations, and they're like, hey, did you see this today? You know, and that's the light I'm looking at it in.
Right.
No, yeah.
Also I'll say, these people that have these shows, which is why the opinion that I had on it was because we're not just looking at Karamo or Iyanla, we're looking at the production team. We're looking at the channel that it's on. We're looking at all the factors that go into television. And that's what I'm saying, that I think that is what plays a factor. Okay. That's actually why Iyanla stopped her show, because it was playing a huge factor. It was emotionally taxing on her. That's not, she never really wanted to do that. You can find plenty of interviews on her talking about it. And so for me, the production side of what makes television, it is really stopping the therapeutic process that people like Karamo and Iyanla are trying to put on.
I see that.
So for me, that's the issue, to be clear. But with Iyanla, I just feel like, again, that's why I said everything is not meant to be on TV. I just feel like there are some things that she had methods that just were like, okay, I don't know that they should have been on here.
Yeah, Iyanla, I agree. Yeah, she did some stuff.
I'm not even gonna lie, and I quote, like, not quote, but I talk about this one scene from the show every single time I bring up Iyanla, or like she's brought up, and talking about methods that just don't. I don't know if this was like, oh my God, this is gonna be so beneficial when y'all looked at it, but when I looked at it, and she had them people screaming into that hole that they dug into that dirt, I was like,
because even when you talk about, people are gonna mock. I wish my therapist would have me screaming in the
I wish my therapist would be like,
digging a hole.
Today we're gonna have an outside session.
See, the thing is, like I don't. When I was just talking, I was talking about Karamo. When I watch Iyanla, whatever her name is, Iyanla. When I watched her, like, I only really saw like the scenes where they're just in the house or whatever, and like I only saw snippets. I didn't really like watch her extensively. Like, when y'all say that, talking about those type of methods, that's something personal, and I just feel like, because talking is one thing, but you have them doing methods and stuff. That's no.
And go ahead.
I was just gonna say, because she has them like stay. She has a house and they stay there, so it's not like just a one day therapy session. It's like they're there for certain amounts of time. I don't know if it's the same time every time or if it's different depending on the extensive methods and situations. But yeah, they're there for a while, and like she'll have different methods throughout the day that they do. She'll talk to some of them individually. They'll come together, things like that. But some of her methods, I'd be like, okay, this, you can imitate this like in your family, certain things. But other things, I just be like, I'm not digging no hole and screaming outside.
A big thing for me was when she again, this is a production issue. When she brought on that girl that got she was abducted. She brought on that girl.
And she was cussing her out and yelling at her face.
And she was irate and doing all these things. Yeah. And she was on this television show with Iyanla not too long after finding her family. Yeah. Right? Mm-hmm. And let's be real. I know Iyanla is an educated, experienced woman. She did not know how to handle that girl and her family.
No, she did not.
And that's now on national television. You can look up a clip now on any platform.
She was,
and you could see
she was going.
So that's where the exploitation comes in there, and that's not Iyanla's fault. That's a production issue. Yeah. And so these things are not meant for us to be plastered on television. And this is something that we're going to do as Black people that are going to have these shows. There needs to be so much thought that goes into the production of it, because they spent that like. If they really spent it like Iyanla didn't know what she was doing. Yeah. And this is an educated woman that has years of practice, and it's not just about education, it's also about the fact that she's a spiritualist. So she does a lot of work through God and through religion and things like that. And we're putting that on TV, but now you're spinning it, and it's made to seem that she doesn't know what she's doing, because this girl lost her mind because she didn't find her family after 18 years. Yeah,
that'd turn the click on. Like, that would. Like,
that was her most popular episode.
Like,
yeah, see, I didn't know all that.
Like, you got this girl on here that just found out that her mama wasn't her mama after 18 years. Yeah. And you're trying to get her to talk. She don't want to talk.
That's crazy.
She don't want to talk. Yes, I'm about to cut you out.
That's a truly
and then,
personal thing.
And they be in the comments, like, dogging that little girl. Like, dogging her. Like, she's so disrespectful. That's not how you talk to your elders. That's not how you do this. And it's just like, she has cameras in her face. Right. In situations where she's supposed to be talking about the most traumatic thing that will probably ever happen in her life.
But you see how I'm saying, we talking about people that's looking at a therapeutic show, and we talking about how people learn something from it, but the people is looking at a therapeutic show and still don't understand therapy. So it just is like, is it really that beneficial? I mean, like, I feel like it can be, but in that, I honestly feel like Karamo is probably more beneficial than Iyanla's show. And I like Iyanla, but some of those tactics that they were putting on that TV and in spinning certain things, I did not like it. And I think that Karamo, maybe he took some things and learned. I don't know. Yeah. Maybe he studied. But his show, I think, is better. And if there's a little more research, he needs a psychological team. I think that has a really good future.
Yeah, I think when it comes to Iyanla, like, her show, that's too extensive. I didn't know it was all that. I was just talking about the talking portion. I didn't know that she had them doing them things. I didn't know that she's talking about people getting abducted and all that stuff. I had no idea. So when it comes to that, I totally agree. Like, no, you shouldn't. Don't be having stuff like that on TV. Like, that's really like, she's vulnerable. Yeah, no. But when it comes to just talking about, like, just minor issues, I feel like that's okay. So the Iyanla show, like, it should have gotten canceled. I'm glad it did. Is it,
like, Iyanla more tuned to, like, having celebrities or celebrity families on her show?
No. So that was actually her big thing. I actually like Iyanla. I know a lot about this.
I know Tamar was on there. I think another celebrity family was on there.
All of these people were reaching out to her and her team. Okay. She wanted to take on everyday people that were writing out to the show, writing out to her personally. The Braxton family reached out to Iyanla. That I know that was said. I know she did a segment on Black girls of different shades to talk about colorism, things like that. That was a production thing. So it's not that she's focusing on these celebrities.
It's the production aspect, the TV aspect.
It's that, and it's also the fact that some of these celebrities are like, "Ooh, that's a Black therapist on TV. Our family can go to her, and they know they can get on because they're celebrities."
Any more questions, concerns, comments with this one? All right, Ashanti, you're up.
Okay. So I don't really know how to put the question, but I kind of wanted to go off of just like, so we all know, Blueface and Krishan, but specifically how that situation goes. So like their situation, but looking at how a whole bunch of other artists experience those relationship problems and just like a lot of toxic stuff that's on Instagram. But my overall thing is how social media and the content on social media creates kind of that backhanded, emotional distress on us as consumers or us as people viewing it.
So is it, how are toxicity in relationships and bad relationships that we see on the internet with influencers or people, mainly Krishan and Blueface, that's who it is right now. How is that affecting us as, like, in our relationships? Like,
just us as viewers.
Just us as people in general.
Yeah, so like when we get on social media, we see all this toxic, this negativity constantly. But how do you think that kind of goes with how we go about our days after we see that? Because I feel like a lot of, like, in the comments, you will see people saying, like, oh, like, I've unfollowed all these people because it was really having a mental strain on me. Like, seeing this shit, like, every 5 seconds, you know, when usually their feed is full of positivity. But since all these, you know, vlogs and, like, you know, Shade Room, you know, they're constantly having this thing about them, and
the Shade Room in itself can be a
topic.
topic.
But yeah, like, on my take on it is that, like, it kind of worries me, like, just seeing how the generation goes with social media and stuff, because, you know, we are exposed to so much things, you know, we're exposed to death about what? Every time we open up our phones, we see someone dying, or we see someone who has died. Like, that has created such a mental strain on the whole entire, everyone's generation. And I feel like that's something that's not talked about. But yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a desensitized, like, you're desensitized to certain things. Especially with, like, gun violence and stuff like that, but that's a whole nother topic. But as far as, like, the relationships that people uphold and stuff like that, I personally, like, I have made it my, like, I don't know what the word is, but I don't follow Blueface, Krishan. I don't follow the Shade Room. Like,
you're purposeful.
Right. Yeah. I did that on purpose because it brings a lot, like you said, it brings a lot of negativity, and it's not like it necessarily affects me emotionally, but it's sad to see, because it's like, y'all are experiencing true abuse, and y'all are perpetuating it and continuing it for likes and follows and money. Like, it's disgusting, and it's right, and it's just like, you're getting abused. Like, you're getting physically and emotionally abused, and you just letting this stuff happen on camera. It's just like, how much are you gonna do? Like, how much, when is it gonna take, like, I mean, what is it gonna take for you to realize, like, okay, I'm doing too much and I need to sit down because my life is in danger. The money not worth it. Right. It's not worth your life. Like, okay, yeah, she kind of turned around, like, but still, she's still coming back and continuing to just perpetuate this idea that it's okay. Like, I feel like she's just making it seem like, okay, it's okay, you know?
For me personally, it doesn't affect me emotionally. Right. I feel like it affects everybody, but I feel like it depends on the person of how you let it affect you. For me, for example, it doesn't affect me emotionally, but it affects how I worry about, it's a worry thing. I worry about the future generations that are seeing this, like our current middle schoolers, our current high schoolers, because they're acceptable and they have access to all these phones and social media, and they have access to so much more. It's like the younger they get, the more access they have to these things. So you're seeing it younger, your brain's still developing, you're getting all of this in. So I just worry about how seeing, like, this toxicity, this abuse, this hatred, this presentation of, like, this imitation of the Black community relationships. I'm just worried about how that is affecting them and how they're perceiving it. And if they're like, ooh, like, if they're not understanding that this is actually bad, but like, ooh, they're staying in it, they're getting money, you know, I idolize this, I want to do this, I'm gonna imitate this. Like, if I'm getting money, it doesn't matter. Like, I worry about certain things of how the younger kids who are continuously to come up and have this access to things are viewing what they're putting out. Right. Because me personally, I don't follow the Shade Room anymore. Yeah. Like I said, the Shade Room could be a whole topic within itself, but I don't follow them anymore. You know, I don't follow Krishan anymore. I don't follow Blueface. Like, but following them or not, you still see it. It's still everywhere. Like, it's gonna be everywhere. They got a whole TV show. Yeah. So it's like, it's still there. So when I see it, it just, like Cam said, it just makes me sad personally. Like, it makes me worry for future kids, but it also just makes me sad. Like, this is disgusting. Like, and it makes me also, like, I kind of want to, like, if I could just, like, shrink and jump into their brains
No,
as
for
humans,
real.
I
Like,
would,
what's going
because
on
I
in
just
there?
want to know, like,
What are you thinking?
what, like, is it, like, you know, just, I'm smart up here, I just want the money.
Right.
Like, is it that, or is it really, like, you know,
you going through something?
it's really,
Yeah.
you're really going through something, or, like, you know, you've had these past traumas, and you're letting them affect, you know, what you do now. Because I don't think none of them are dumb. Like, I don't think any of them are dumb. I think that all of them are very in tune to what they're doing. I just, like, why are you doing it?
Right.
Because you said how the toxic relationships affects us as a person. So for me, I don't really think it affects me. Like, kind of like what Nia was saying. I just more so feel like, dang, like, why is this on the internet?
Yeah.
Like, why? And it kind of is similar to what you were saying about, like, the younger generation. But honestly, it concerns me with ours and younger.
Yeah.
It's not just the younger generation.
Yeah.
It's ours and younger, because I really do feel like people are, first of all, I'm taking it as an education thing, right? I'm taking it as, like, a lot of us feel like we don't need to get education because of social media.
Absolutely.
And when you look at people like Krishan and Blueface, and even Zeus, because a lot of us know, you know, Krishan on Zeus or whatever. You look at these things and you be like, if I could just audition and be a baddie, if I could just get one record like Blueface, it don't even matter. And it just is like, this is crazy, because we're not even understanding how, I don't think these individuals were the way that they are until they got what they got. And what they have is going to destroy them. So I hope, you know, I hope that people see it that way, but I don't think, you know, I just don't want people imitating what they're seeing, because this is ridiculous. It's disgusting.
Yeah.
Even his mother, like, this is crazy. This is
Yeah.
absolutely
The things she
Oh,
has said,
understand,
going back to the beginning, Jason Lee being messy, the things that she has even said on his show is just like, girl, this is your son.
Right, like, are you serious? At your old age? Come on now, you gotta know better than this.
And then it's like, if you acting like that, I just look at your son like, well.
And then it's also crazy, because you see the videos and then you see a divide of opinions and comments, and that creates a whole other thing in itself. A lot of the hot topics or whatever that are coming up is because of situations that start that way, with the Krishan and the Blueface and the Jason Lee and whatever, and then people end up blowing it up and it ends up becoming a big conversation. So my thing is, and this is my other thing as well, why do you think that you can't be as successful and have the money by putting out positive things? Like, why is this all you care about? And I don't get it. I don't understand.
I feel like it's easier. It's like, to them, it's kind of like it's an easier thing. Like, you're not going to continue to do stuff like this if you're not seeing the traction from it. They're seeing that you're tuning into Zeus every Friday to watch baddies. You're tuning into Zeus every Friday to watch Krishan and Blueface show. Oh, Sunday. I don't watch them.
Me neither.
Zeus, I don't like Zeus. It's an exploitation. I don't agree with it. I'm not paying to watch my community sit there and argue with each other and fight and be messy. Like, I'm not paying y'all however much to watch that. But it's like, we have people who are paying to do that, who are sitting here and feeding into everything on the Shade Room, following everybody, looking up when all the messy stuff come on. So it's like, if they're seeing that the messiness is what's getting them the following and the traction and the likeness and the money, I'm gonna keep doing it.
I just feel like, while that may be true, I just feel like one day, it's gonna be a long time coming, Krishan is gonna wake up and have a Black China situation. And she's gonna, you know what I mean? Y'all know what I mean by that?
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, all the fame and the money, it all gets caught up. And, you know, I just think it's sad because Krishan, you know, she comes from, I'm not going to say a religious background, but at some point she developed some type of relationship with God or whatever. And I just think it's sad because when you build those type of relationships with God and stuff like that, God is looking at you like, we have a relationship, so I'm gonna look out for you, but you doing all this dumb stuff, and I'm gonna get you later. Like, it's gonna catch up. It's just like the Black China situation. Like, I just feel like it's going to Blueface, I feel like he's always gonna be Blueface. Like I just feel like he out here in the world, ain't nothing. He's not spiritually connected to nothing. But I can see the spiritual connection with Krishan and God and how she, you know what I'm saying. I can see that, and so. But part of being spiritually connected is God is going to teach you a lesson at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
So
always,
I just hope that she learns that soon before she really falls flat on her face with having a child.
With having a child.
I don't really care too much about Blueface. He gonna get what's coming to him at some point. I don't know what it's gonna be though.
I mean, his mama, like, I feel like she just perpetuates things. Like, girl, why are you talking about her? She said her husband's genitals were bigger than her son's. Like. Who are you? Why would you say that?
She broke. Her son. He don't pay for nothing. He ain't paying no bills.
Please.
She see an opportunity and she's taking it. It's the same thing what Nia was saying. It's the same thing. She ain't got nothing. A small house, been on drugs. It's the same situation.
Did y'all see?
All these kids.
Did y'all see when she went live on Instagram outside because she hadn't seen Krishan, her grandbaby. She went on live.
The damn gate.
I really want to see my grandson. I have love for my grandson. It's just my grandson. Back to what we were saying, like everything don't need to be out there. Everything does not need to be on social media. If it was genuine, it wouldn't be there. I want to see my grandbaby. I haven't seen my grandbaby. I've been calling her, texting her. I'm finna sit outside her house, crisscross applesauce on the sidewalk, on live with y'all until Krishan bring my grandbaby out.
I feel like she spoke the language Krishan speaks at the end of the day. Like, I just feel like, you know, even though normally I would say the same thing, but she just spoke the same language Krishan speaks. Krishan is an internet girl. She goes live all the time.
Yeah. She do be live all the time.
I mean, that's just what she does.
So, any more questions, comments, or concerns on that hot topic? Y'all gonna use your word?
Nope.
No, I don't have anything.
All right, then that would be all for today's episode. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and listening to us give our takes on the amazing topics that my friends brought out today. I'm so thankful for you guys, so thank you.
Thank you.
And see you guys next Sunday. I hope everybody has a great week. If you do not have a great week, we will reflect on what you can do to make that week better. If you have had a great week, keep it up. All right, bye.